We don't really have like a bond like that. 12 years and she hasn't really done anything. That's kind of been like Kristina's spot.
I'm just a bonus mom, though.
I did hear from Gary that Leah had mentioned that she wanted to do something with you outside of the cameras.
When you're a homewrecker, you're a homewrecker. I was told that when I got out, I would have my family. All the while, I was being cheated on.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is March 31st. Can you believe it? Already March. The end of March, almost April. And this weekend, the resurrection, Easter for Christians. I hope you guys are having a good week and preparing for your big weekend. But we're going to actually move over and sort of talk about Teen Mom OG. We haven't talked about it since last week when Macy book out and the whole Ryan Edwards, Mackenzie Edwards, Larry Edwards, the whole thing went kaput and they got fired. And we're going to shift gears and check in with Amber because we haven't really talked about Amber a whole lot. And I get it. Some of you guys just really don't care and it's not that interesting to you. But I feel like this specific topic is interesting because we're finally going to see Miss Leah's perspective in all of this. And I think her voice matters. And I think her utilizing her voice and sharing her experience is really powerful. And so we're going to talk about Leah and what happened last night and then what happened afterwards when they went offline or when after the show aired, because of course, Amber went off on Kristina, and it was really sad, you guys. It was so unnecessary. So before we get into any of that, a lot of you guys have been asking me questions about where I've been getting my clothes lately. I have been using 3130 lately. I have a bunch of little like online boutiques that I frequent, but Amy Duggar King's shop 3130 has been my favorite thus far lately. I am obsessed with her clothing. I love her sweatshirts, her leggings are amazing. I have skirts, dresses, sweaters, t-shirts. I have tried the gamut of everything that she offers and I absolutely love it. The quality has been phenomenal. I'm such a snob about textures. I have really sensitive, itchy skin. So her clothing is really, really soft and really nice on my skin, so I love it. This is actually from there. It's a dress, you can't tell, but if you're interested, check out 3130. They have this awesome program called VIP where you can get 50% off and you just pay $10 a month for it. And she sends you all kinds of like you can order pre-orders from her so you can be the first to order anything new that comes into the boutique. I absolutely love it. I do get a portion of commission on each sale, but honestly, I just love the shop. So if you want to know where I've been shopping lately, that's where this is from. I got a lot of compliments on this dress the last time I wore it, so I figured I'd give her a little shout out. So back to Ambi. Last night on Teen Mom OG, we were actually seeing for the very first time, well, maybe not the first time, but Leah Shirley was turning 12 years old, okay? And during the episode, Gary and Kristina sat down Leah and were asking Leah, like, what do you want to do for your birthday? And she said she wanted to like go shopping, get her nails done, and have some fun with her friends. And Gary and Kristina were like, yes, that's fantastic. We can do that. What else would you like to do for the family? And then she said, well, I just want to have like you guys, and I think she said her grandma, and that was it. And they were like, well, what about your mom? And she was like, I don't want to see my mom. And
with your mom?
I don't want to though.
Is there like something that happened? Is there something, a way you feel?
We don't really have like a bond like that.
And then after saying that she didn't have a bond with her, she went on to basically say that Amber had never been in her life and that Amber was really just like her birth mom. Like she said, like all she's ever done for me is give birth.
12 years and she hasn't really done anything. That's kind of been like Kristina's spot. All she did was give birth to me.
Oh
And she's
yeah,
kind of left.
she took care of you too. She might not have always been there, but she was there.
And Gary kind of like temped it down and was like, no, she's been there for more than just that.
I don't want you writing your mom off and saying I can't have a relationship with her, that kind of thing, because, you know, at some point.
And if you want to have a relationship with her now, I mean, there's all this stuff that has happened, but if we want to get better, we actually have to work towards having a relationship and, you know, like, let's at least invite her. So they go ahead and invite her. And I really liked that Gary and Kristina handled it in this way, where they were not degrading to her. They were encouraging to Leah. They were validating her feelings while also explaining to her that, you know, she could invite their mom and they could still try. Kristina referred to herself not as a mom, but as a bonus mom.
I'm just a bonus mom, though.
Yeah.
And I thought it was handled very nicely. So then it turns out that Amber finds out the whole thing is going to be filmed and there's going to be hibachi, and she just doesn't want to be there. So she says she's not going to go because she's uncomfortable being there. So they go through all these steps to invite Amber, and then she ultimately passes. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do it on camera. She wants to see her off camera, but Leah doesn't want to see her off camera. And so that's kind of what happens there. So they go on to have this birthday, and it's actually really sweet. Like, Tanya comes over, and obviously, you know, this is all set up by MTV, but still, Kristina ended up getting her a ring, which was so sweet. It was like a ring that had her birthstone on it, and she basically told Leah, like, ever since you've been in my life, since you've been 4, I never thought I could, like, love a little girl that wasn't my own as much as I love you, and I really do think of you as my own as my daughter, and I just want you to know that, and I love you so much. And obviously, Kristina and Leah do have a very tight bond, and for all intents and purposes, since Leah's been 4 until she's 12, so for the last 8 years, and really, if you think about it in this way, like, most of the life that she remembers, she probably doesn't remember a whole lot between 0 to 4. So for most of the life she does remember, Kristina has been the person that's been doing things for her, taking her to school, taking her to running her around, being there for her, being a shoulder to cry on, being someone to sort of support, love, provide all of the stuff that moms do. And I will say that, like, while there's times where I'm just like, I'm not super big fans of Gary and Kristina, I will say that Kristina does and has played a very good role in Leah's life. And I'm so glad that Leah has that. It's so important for her to have some stability in that respect. So then, after this is all said and done, they do the birthday party, they have the hibachi. Leah is kind of bummed that her mom doesn't come after that whole thing. And then Amber goes to her brother, Sean. Now, if you remember, last year or a year and a half ago when she was arrested, Sean was, like, literally coming to her defense and was, like, accusing Andrew of being, like, a clout chaser and wanting her house, wanting her money, blah, 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 saying that he was the guy that was doing everything that was bad and it wasn't her. This time, he came to Leah's defense, and I don't know if it's because a kid was involved, but she called him, and she was trying to, like, play the victim and act like Leah was being a brat. Basically, she was, like, she was acting like Leah was in the wrong, because she was like, you would never believe how she was talking to me. Like, I didn't go because I didn't want to deal with the drama, and I'm just going to give her space. And he kind of, like, stepped up, and he was almost just like, yo, Amber, like, you need to put yourself in Leah's shoes, and instead of feeling bad for how it makes you feel or how her response is to you, think about how she feels for a second. Put yourself in her shoes and think about her experience, not your own.
There was things she was telling me that you would with.
That she's experienced over the last 12 years when she's had a mom that's been absent for
I wasn't absent.
Really just trying to help him understand that Leah's feelings about her don't come from a place of nothing. It comes from her experience with her. And of course, Amber was not having it. She was, like, yelling and saying, I want her to know that I have a bond with her and I do everything for her and I love her and I was there. And she was like, I was there 1 or 2 times a week, sometimes every other week, which isn't actually, I mean, that's like a parent that's around sometimes. And she does have a custody agreement with Gary. She pays child support. And I don't know if they have, like, a formal visitation schedule, but I'm told, like, he makes the comment, like, Leah has he's like, I've heard from Gary and Kristina that Leah has expressed that she wants you around, not just when TV is on or when the cameras are filming.
I did hear from Gary that Leah had mentioned that she wanted to do something with you outside of the cameras.
Implying that the only time that Amber shows interest in her daughter is when the cameras are on. Like, it's an obligation where, like, she's feeling like her only connection to Amber is the show. And that's actually super sad, but it's in the line. I remember having a conversation about this with Andrew Glennon last year when everything was going on. And he said to me that things had eroded so poorly with Leah that she never saw Leah unless they were filming. They never interacted. It was only for filming. That was it. She had a little bit more of a relationship back in the Matt Byers ages, but still wasn't seeing her a whole lot. So if you're only seeing your daughter for a show, and of course your daughter is like gonna feel that, and he says that to her and she's like, well, when I try to make plans with her off camera, she doesn't want to see me. And he's like, well, you're gonna need to find a resolution for how to build that bridge. Obviously, she doesn't feel comfortable being alone with her mom. What does that tell you about how she must feel or what she's seen when she's with her mom?
And she said no.
Okay, well, maybe she doesn't think it's good enough, so you have to come up with a solution.
Maybe she doesn't trust her mom. Maybe she doesn't trust that her mom isn't going to blow up or yell or scream. Maybe she doesn't trust that her mom isn't going to lose her temper. I mean, and to be frank, Amber was going off on Sean, and then
Gary and Kristina did not do their part, is all I gotta say. They did not do their part on what they had said to her. They told her lies on some things.
She and Sean go back and forth. Sean does not take Amber's side at all. So you've got everyone mad at Amber. And what does Amber do? She runs to Instagram Live and she goes off and she calls Kristina a whore, a homewrecker. She says that she cheated on her, or Gary cheated on her with Kristina. She says that when she was in prison, that Gary promised that they would have a family once she got out. She accused Gary of stealing money from her. By the way, she's also accused her mom, Andrew Glennon, Matt Baer, and Gary now of all stealing. Every single one of them.
When you're a whore, you're a whore. When you're a homewrecker, you're a homewrecker. When you're a liar, you're a liar. Money was stolen from me when I was in prison. I was told that when I got out, I would have my family. All the while, I was being cheated on.
And they all cheat on her too. I mean, Matt did actually cheat on her. But with that being said, she took out the same thing. And then she went off and basically said that Kristina doesn't do anything for her daughter at all. She says the only reason that Leah loves her is because she buys presents for Leah and takes her shopping and to Starbucks.
She respects her because she brings her out to Starbucks, gets her nails done, and spends over $1,000-something of clothing on her. Well, hell, I'd respect her too. See, I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to not spoil my child.
I'm pretty sure their relationship is built on more than just Starbucks and gifts. She's been there for her entire life. She's trying to minimize the thing. She's degrading them. She's yelling about them. And on the show last night, she ended things by basically saying that Kristina and Gary are the ones that screwed everything up and they're lying to her about her. Like they're lying to Leah about her. My question in all of this is that I'm loving seeing Leah have a voice. I'm loving seeing Gary and Kristina really encourage the relationship. I know that Gary and Kristina did say, Gary at least this year said that he's going to have to reevaluate. And he said that their co-parenting relationship really has broken down. And he needs to put Leah's best interests at heart and stop thinking about Amber. And he also has to start thinking about his wife. If I were them, I would try to find something. Maybe they need to do counseling together. Maybe if Amber can't control herself and Leah doesn't feel comfortable, and until Amber can take care of her health, I don't know how safe that is for Leah. And if Leah feels that kids are they feel everything. And Leah is at an age now that she can see her mother doing this online. And I imagine it doesn't make Leah feel very good. Amber should probably start worrying about herself and taking care of herself and not blaming everyone else. And my other question is, why is she still on the show if she doesn't have custody of either of her kids? Her daughter doesn't want anything to do with her. And they fired Ryan Edwards last week for basically, he's the same storyline as her, right? All intents and purposes, he didn't go to prison for 3 years. I think she did. But it's the same storyline. The other parent is raising the kid. The other kid doesn't want to be around the parent. And why don't we just get rid of them and allow Gary and Kristina and Leah to be on the show? Long story short, I don't think it's Amber's place to degrade Kristina. Kristina's doing the best she can at this point in time. I think it's really tacky. I think it's irresponsible, and I think it's really ugly. And I think it's not going to help her build any bridges by insulting the woman that has stepped in her absence. And her only explanation for being gone is that she doesn't want her daughter to see things. Well, if you don't want your daughter to see the drugs or the men or whatever it is that's involved in your life, then get yourself together and act like a mother. Because right now you're not. The way that you're acting is not okay. And fans are outraged. And I think it's pretty fair for them to be outraged. And I want to know what your thoughts are about all of this. Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.